So as many of you know, I invest in a lot of different quantum stocks. I'm betting on the whole sector, not just one horse in the race. But one horse that I'm particularly excited about is a company called SealsQ, and their ticker symbol is LAES. And I actually bought more shares today, and I hold about 2,000 shares of this company. Their CEO went on today and did an interview, and I'd like to react to some key points, but essentially they're working on post-quantum cybersecurity, both the hardware and the software. So I'd like to take a look at the company, do a little bit of react, and tell you why I'm investing in this company and why I think there's a bright future ahead. Not only that, today, LAES broke a critical resistance on its chart, and we'll look at the chart as well and take a look at what that price action could mean. Is a rally starting? Is this the beginning of something bigger for this ticker? So let's jump right in. You've heard me talk about SealsQ, LAES many times before, but essentially they're working specifically on semiconductors and quantum security solutions. And they're building quantum resistant products and services. So what are quantum resistant products and services? When there's a sufficiently powerful quantum computer, quantum computers may be able to attack and decrypt standard RSA encryption. So they're building quantum resistant hardware, for example, quantum resistant secure microcontrollers and post-quantum root of trust and PKI services. They also have quantum as a service, a cloud-based quantum computing enables users to run quantum algorithms and experiments remotely without the need to own physical quantum hardware. So they have quantum as a service, quantum hardware, and I like how they talk about the quantum threat on their site. So quantum computers are machines that use the property of quantum physics to store data and perform computations. This can be extremely advantageous for certain tasks where they could vastly outperform our best supercomputers. We are entering a new era in which the quantum computer will replace, in some cases, classical computers and will be able to solve within reasonable time issues that were previously known unsolvable. And SealsQ has worked with NIST to select the best quantum resistant algorithms, and they launched the Quasars project in 2022, which aimed to build a post-quantum cryptographic root of trust. So there's a lot of good information. They've collaborated with the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and NIST does not evaluate commercial products under the consortium and does not endorse any product, but they do work with NIST on their technologies. So there's a lot of meat to the bone here. And if we look at the stock specifically, we're just going to look at the overall. In the last year, the stock has returned 252%. Year to date, it's down 43%, but in the last 6 months, it's returned 274%. In the last month, 56%. In the last 5 days, 12%. So the stock has been moving. And let's take a look and have a listen to this interview. And then I'll do some deeper analysis on the stock chart to tell you why I think we are on the verge of potential bullish reversal on the chart.
I don't think we could really talk about cybersecurity in 2025 without talking about quantum and why quantum is suddenly becoming a hot topic this year. So maybe can you start with just the quantum computing side and take us through what's changed in the last year and why people are paying more attention to it, and then we'll delve into the countermeasure part that I think you'll have a lot to say about.
Absolutely. I mean, we actually predicted that quantum will become very big in 2024 and 5 as we are spinning off one of our technology, which is a semiconductor technology that WiseKey had inside the group until May 23. When we spin it off and listed on the NASDAQ. And the reason we did that actually was exactly for what happened a few months later, that we knew that sooner or later someone will come with quantum capabilities. And this will obviously the big companies like Google coming in November last year with Willow, and subsequently Microsoft, and subsequently Amazon. They started to develop quantum cores. So those are the building blocks for developing a quantum computer. So still, we are not yet on the quantum day, as everybody says, but we are very close. I think what the market has clarified, and this is plenty evidence now, that quantum will not be a 30 years time issue, as was explained by some CEOs in Silicon Valley, but will be actually be 3 to 5 years. So what happened is that companies, and they had like WiseKey, and they have a very long track record on securing legacy systems like public infrastructure, like identity management. They started to say, okay, what about if we replace the algorithm? Because one of the consequences of quantum computers will break immediately RSA, will break triple DES, will basically break all the current ciphers and encryption ciphers, and they are powering the global economy. I mean, this is banks, this is insurance company, this is airlines, this is critical infrastructure, smart cities, smart grids. All of that is now based on RSA. So once these quantum computers become operational, they will immediately, not only they will unlimited computational power that will displace supercomputers, but that power will be used, if it's a nefarious user of the technology, to create a lot of harm. So what happens is that companies like WiseKey and SealsQ, which is an affiliate company of WiseKey, started to get a huge attention because once you have such an imminent threat, you have to organize the defense, right? And the defense is what we call post-quantum technology, which is putting at the silicon level. So you are injecting at the chip level the same algorithm that they will be used on the attack level. So
So to put it, so there's a lot said there, both in the history of what's happened just in the last less than a year, back to December of 2024 to now. He acknowledged that the timeline that was first set in January, 30 years for these quantum computers, he's now saying is 3 to 5 years. And just as fast as nefarious third parties are rushing to build these systems to gain access to information that was previously secured by RSA encryption, he's now saying they're working just as hard to get protections in place on the hardware level to secure data. And that's a space that WiseKey and SealsQ has worked in. So that alone right there is an incredible sort of market, I believe, not just today, but in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Imagine the value of a company like this when a quantum attack happens. Imagine what would happen to the stock overnight.
Quantum computer finds that algorithm in a microchip, in a semiconductor, it won't be able to break because the algorithm is actually the same that is originated in the quantum machine. And that obviously mitigates the risk, reduce the risk. So WiseKey is also upgrading all their existing, we have one of the dominant quantum root keys now. We started by, as you know, we were one of the pioneers in root keys. Then they are private keys, and they are used to issue all sort of keys on the internet. So companies like RSA, like Entrust, like VeriSign, like DigiCert, all these companies are in the same category, that they have a PKI root key. But this PKI root key can also be compromised if you have a quantum attack, right? So what WiseKey did during this year has been an intense work, is upgrading that that PKI root key into a quantum root key. So by the way, there is information in the market now that maybe already next year, companies like Microsoft, Google, and others will put the possibility, will list those quantum root keys in their directories. So their browsers and their OS will be able to embed that quantum root key into their operating system. So.
And that's huge. And this just shows that there's a huge inflection point for mainstream adoption of this quantum security infrastructure. So really fascinating. We're watching this unfold in real time. It's history in the making as far as technology goes. And SealsQ finds themselves right at that inflection point as far as quantum security infrastructure goes.
And to develop your own TPM strategy at the industrial level, if you're a car manufacturer, or if you are an IoT device provider, or you're a camera, or you're a car company, all these conglomerates need to be quantum ready by not in 3 years now, right? Because actually there are consequences to that. For instance, insurance companies are now saying we don't want to have the liability risk of securing you and insure you if you are not post-quantum ready, right? Because that could happen before even 3 years. I mean, there are some comments that China has already a quantum computer. We don't know. We know that the process on the qubits process is accelerating, right? Now we have enough qubits to break the first layer of RSA. Obviously, it's a long way before you can really break RSA, but that means that qubits are getting accumulated, and once you reach the 200 qubits, you can break RSA, right? So there is there is an unknown factor in the market, and this is why I think investors are paying a lot of attention to quantum, because they're saying this is not like AI or like blockchain, this type of technology. I mean, this is the foundational structure on the internet are going to change, right? This is the company like Cisco's of the world, and they are providing internet infrastructure like telcos, and they provided connectivity. All these organizations will need to be post-quantum ready in order to sustain whatever they're doing on the top of it. So the market is the addressable market of TPM is still small. We are talking about $1 billion this year addressable market, but this is going to be exponentially growing.
Insurance, right? Insurance companies cover a lot of these businesses that have big online presence. And he's talking about some really interesting concepts here. So he's not just talking about RSA and the sufficiently powerful computer. He alludes to the fact that China may be ahead in the race, and I've hypothesized many times that they definitely are. But he also talks about the insurance aspect of this, that insurance companies may say, sorry, the risk is too high. You're not quantum ready, thus you're not insurable. And that's where the push is going to happen when insurance companies, when actuarial tables show we have too much risk on the books. You have to do X, Y, and Z. You have to make this upgrade to your infrastructure, ideally yesterday, but by the end of X, or we're dropping you. That's where there's going to be this flood of money into specifically post-quantum cybersecurity. So again, super interesting and very, very articulate, the Carlos Moreira. Now we're going to pivot over to just the price action of this stock. I think there's a lot of excitement or sort of enthusiasm, and you can see that recently in the chart. And I want to talk about, I've removed all my drawings, and I just want to look at this chart objectively for the last 1 year. So for the last 1 year, we can see that before Google Willow, the stock was 50 cents a share. During the run up for Google Willow, when there was the quantum euphoria, this stock wicked at $11 and actually touched almost $10 before sell-off, consolidation, and really a consistent downtrend until recently, where it's looked like maybe there's the beginning of a bullish reversal. And I've covered this stock many times on the channel, and I even had a user comment today. He said, I know what you're going to talk about. You're going to talk about 388, and look at the price in aftermarket, 388. And why have we called 388? Well, I'm going to turn on my drawings here, and like a broken record, we have struggled mightily. LAES has struggled many times to get over 388. For some reason, it rejects. And actually, the candle closed today at 391, which is 3 pennies over that resistance. And it does signal that there's increasing bullish sentiment. So we're going to zoom into the last month. And if we just look at the last month, we can see a lot of volume has come in on rallies. There's been some nice candles. It has broken 388 temporarily, but then been sent back down. It's been range bound between 350 and 388. So we can see this we see that we wick above 388 and then we get rejected down. We wick above, we get rejected down. We reject off 388. And then it actually got set down to 350 and traded sideways a little bit. But today we moved back up into this 350 to 388. And we, of course, as is tradition with LAES, look at that. Like I heard, I've been seeing this comment. I don't know. They say like reading charts is like reading tarot cards. I could not disagree more. A chart is exactly, it doesn't matter what someone says. It is how much the stock is being bought and sold on any given day in any given time frame. And there are patterns, and each stock is unique, and there are specific patterns and things that happen in each stock. So 388, for whatever reason, is very critical for LAES. So what we want to see for LAES, and if we go out to a longer time frame and we remove the drawings, what we want to see is LAES close above 388, which was key number one. So that happened today. And we see that in post, it's down to 387. So it's still not quite holding above that, but we want to see 388 become support so it can move its next leg up. So let's look at some 4-hour candles and see what that would look like. What we'd want to see in a bullish case is we'd see 388 become support, and we'd reject here maybe off of 433, maybe start hanging around this channel, and then test 456. That would be bullish, and I'm very bullish. So this is actually more of a base case in my opinion at this point in time. An ultra bullish case is we'd rip through 456 and go up and potentially test 516, which was its last stop before it exploded to its all-time highs. Now, in a bear case, it drops below, it chops. In an ultra bear case, it comes down under 350 and continues moving down. Now, LAES finds itself in both an interesting spot as far as where it is in the whole quantum sector and the theme. It finds itself in an interesting spot on the charts. I'm adding more to this ticker. To me, LAES SealsQ is the BigBear.ai of the AI world. It's a risky play. It's a speculative play, but at the same time, there's a lot of promise and potential. So is there any guarantee that this is going to 2x or 3x or 15x? The logic that I have is, will there be a demand for what they are building and what they're specializing in? And the answer to me is yes. And that demand, whether that's coming tomorrow or a month from now or a year from now, since I'm long on the name and the stock, this is the time where I would start building that position. And could demand for a company like ARQQ, Arcit, Quantum Emotion, LAES, post-quantum cybersecurity plays, could that demand explode overnight when there's that headline that comes out? Successful quantum attack, or a quantum RSA is proven in a peer-reviewed science paper to be hackable with less qubits. We already saw that Google AI reduced the amount of qubits needed to hack RSA encryption. So there's a lot happening in quantum all the time. I am happily building my position in LAES. I hope you found value in this. If you did find value in this, do me a huge favor. Leave a like if you want to. Subscribe. I post content like this all the time. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.